going to say please stand, but looks like you guys already got that taken care of.
Color turn. Off. Color guard. Hold. Present. Off.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched, who so gallantly streaming, and who can remember the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order. Off. Right shoulder. Off. Right face. Forward. Off.
Thank you. You all please be seated. Well, first I want to welcome everyone to the first annual National Honor Society, as well as the first National Junior Honor Society induction ceremony here at the North Carolina Leadership Academy. Your students have not only worked hard academically to arrive at this juncture, they have also kept deadlines, submitted paperwork, displayed leadership attributes, characteristics, and most importantly, actions. and have passed character evaluations from their teachers and school administrators. Okay, now I'm going to introduce our speaker, and it's with great honor and privilege that I do so. You're going to get a brief taste of what this man has done and where he's been. And then you're going to get to actually hear him speak, which is honestly an awesome opportunity. Lieutenant Commander Robert E. Hamby. Lieutenant Commander Hamby started his military career as an enlisted airman. He then attended and graduated from the premier military academy in the world, the U.S. Naval Academy, and graduated with a Bachelor's in Science and Engineering and became a commissioned officer on May 24th, 2000. Lieutenant Commander Hamby then was sent to the New York Athletic Club to compete in rowing, where he medaled in 4 national events. Later in 2002, Lieutenant Commander Hamby qualified and was awarded his Wings of Gold and designated as a naval aviator. As a naval aviator, Lieutenant Commander Hamby was blessed with the opportunities to be assigned to the Blue Tails, train new strike pilots, as well as numerous other billets. Lieutenant Commander Hamby is currently the commanding officer of the NOSC in Greensboro, North Carolina. As if all that was not enough, his personal decorations include Strike/Flight Air Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, Navy Achievement Medal, Humanitarian Service Medal, along with various service and unit awards. Additionally, he has logged more than 3,000 hours, been involved in 39 combat missions, and more than 25 arrested landings on 10 different carriers. Please join me as we welcome our speaker, Lieutenant Commander Hamby.
All right, so good evening. Thanks, Kellen, Ms. Heath, the faculty, all the parents, and of course the important people tonight, all the students. I was told apparently I'm not allowed to have water in here, so I just found that out. But was speaking, I've been struggling today. So I'll keep my comments as promised to under 60 minutes. I'm kidding. So as I was asked to speak today, I was thinking, what would the 13, 14, 15-year-old Bobby Hamby really want to know or hear or care to hear? And I'll tell you, quite frankly, as I thought about it, not a whole lot, because I think I knew everything when I was that age. I wouldn't have listened to a whole lot that somebody coming in to talk to. And so I thought about, Kellen so graciously gave my background, but what I did before I came here to be in charge of the Reserve Center is I was a Navy pilot, and I was training a lot of the future naval aviators. So for those that don't know, you guys obviously have Civil Air Patrol, you're involved with it, you get to hear it. About 1% of all pilots or naval aviators comprise about 1% of all the pilots in the world, and about 30% of those end up being able to go on the aircraft carrier and land. Now, the aircraft carrier, if you're not familiar, it's an enormous aircraft. I think it's 3 or 4 football fields. I guess I'm going too far. There we go. It's 3 or 4 football fields long. It's a football field and a half wide. It's longer than a cruise ship, 4.5 acres on top, and we land about 80 aircraft and take off from that thing. And so it's enormous, except when you're trying to land on it, which is a different issue. So that 30% that we would train, we'd have to find out whether or not they had what it took. And I'll tell you that 6 years down there, 2,000 plus students that I went through, and also training all the instructors, I found 2 things. Number one, that you guys were sitting here tonight have in common. So tonight I'm going to tell you what you have in common with a Navy fighter pilot. So that 30%, because you guys are about 30 or 40% of your class, as they come through, I can tell you, before I tell you these 2 traits that they had that they share with you guys, I'm going to tell you what it's not. And I'm probably going to disappoint some of your parents and some of the teachers, but I can tell you what didn't matter. It didn't matter where they went to school. So I'm sorry to tell you that. It didn't matter. We had people who went to the Naval Academy, who went to Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Dartmouth, Columbia, Georgetown, UNC, you name it. Big name schools. Did not make one bit of difference whether that person succeeded or failed in the program. I think the best student I had, bar none, went to a community college in Alaska. And one of my very best students, she went to East Middle Tennessee State. So certainly not what you would consider a traditional academic powerhouse or an amazing school. All a big school will do is open a door for you that might not have been open otherwise. But that door being open doesn't mean that the school is going to push you through. You got to walk through it. You got to do whatever's on the other side. So it didn't matter when they went to school. But what about athleticism or their size or something like that? Anybody know who one of the shortest, more famous short NBA players was? Really short? Bugsy. I hear a couple people saying it. 5'4". 17 years in the NBA. How many times in his career do you think he was told, come on, man, you're just not tall enough to play basketball in college? Really? Come on, you're 5'4". Average height in the NBA is something like 6'8". I'm 6'1". So 6'8" here, about where my hand is on this microphone, is 5'4". So he's that, and some of those people are over 7 feet tall. So you can imagine how many times he was told, you can't do it, you don't have what it takes, you're not going to make it. Don't even try the NBA, are you kidding? 17 years in the NBA. So it didn't matter how athletic you were. Well, maybe it's what I've heard, and I'll tell you it's absolutely false. Well, maybe it's different if you're a man or a woman. And that's, number one, absurd. And number two, it has no bearing whatsoever. The best pilot I know, period, bar none, best instructor, best officer, best pilot, was a 110-pound female Marine. She would take everybody to school, could do anything with a plane. So it certainly doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter what you did in your background athletically, whether you're big or small, whether you're heavy or strong, or it doesn't matter. That didn't matter. So now I'm sure you're thinking, well, what does matter? Because there's not a whole lot left. Well, maybe it's just natural gift. You know, some people can just pick up a basketball and they just start throwing three-pointers. You've been practicing for 6 months and still can't hit but 1 out of 10. Well, some people can fly like that, just like some people can look at algebra and they know immediately after hearing the teacher say one time, they figure it out. And someone like me, it takes 50 times before I figure it out. So some people just have natural gifts. So maybe it's those people that just naturally can fly the plane. We had some who come through they could fly better than some of us could fly. But I was also the person who decided at one point in my career who got to stay and who got to go. And we sent people home who could fly better than some of us. So there's not a whole lot left. You told me it doesn't matter where they go to school. It doesn't matter whether they're strong or whether they're big and tall or short. It doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter if they're natural gifts. So what's left? Well, this is what they have in common with you and what you have in common with them. The two things that stood out in 7 years of teaching these people how to do all this stuff was preparation and practice. Those two things, whether you say practice, preparation, or preparation, practice, I don't care what order, those two things set the people who made it aside from the people who didn't, who made the difference between the people who were good and great and made the difference to people who were amazing and just average. Is those who practiced and prepared. And that's what you guys have in common. Is you're not here because you just naturally figured it out and you got an A in this class. You had to do all these other things. You had to practice. You had to sit there and prepare and look at the knowledge. What are we going to talk about tomorrow in class? I got to read it. I got to do my homework. I got to practice that stuff, getting ready for that quiz and that test. And so that's what you guys have in common with a Navy fighter pilot, is that you guys have practiced and prepared, and that's why you're here tonight. So I'm going to give you a little example that might make it a little bit more pertinent about the practice and the preparation, and some of you guys will probably find interesting. So when we're teaching them throughout all this, we teach them everything from how to fly formation, how to fly when it's in bad conditions, to how to tactically fight each other, how to drop bombs, how to fly low, the fun stuff that you might think of. So when they're first learning to tactically fly, we call it tactical formation flying, they're a mile apart from each other. So I'll be the lead and the guy's a mile away from me. And then that way when somebody's going to attack you, in theory, they have to pick one or the other. You're too far apart for them to get both of you. They have to pick one person. And that allows the other person to kind of defend you. So when the students are going through, we do this exercise called loose deuce, and I'll be honest, I don't know what loose number 2 means, why it's called that, but it's called loose deuce. And I'm going to talk you through this. I'll try not to lose you, and then I'm going to talk to you through slow, and then I'm going to tell you how fast we do it in the plane. And you can see that if they don't practice and prepare for it, it's a disaster. So we're a mile apart from each other. So I'm over here, and my wingman's over by the wall, And we're pretending that somebody's outside of the gym coming from 10 o'clock. So whenever I say a clock position, off my nose is 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. It's always off the person you're talking to. So at that person's 10 o'clock, so to the left and high, meaning they're above them, they're above the horizon, this person's attacking them. And so we'll say something like, and we always have call signs, and I don't mean an individual call sign. The aircraft always have things that you're called in the air. So we'll call them Hammer is their call sign. Hammer 1-1 and Hammer 1-2. I'm Hammer 1-1, he's Hammer 1-2. So we say Hammer 1-2, break left, meaning, hey, turn hard left, bandit, which is a bad guy, left 10 o'clock high. So there's somebody trying to attack you, put your nose on them, because that's the best way to defeat it. And then he'll say, Hammer 1-2, no joy. No joy means I can't see him. So he's doing exactly, or she is doing exactly what I told him to do, pulling hard. And then at some point, they will have gotten clear, and I'll say, Hammer 1-2, reverse your turn, bandit overshot, meaning you're safe. So they'll say, Hammer 1-2, reverse, which means they're turning back towards me now instead of going away. And then I'll tell them what's going on. So now I got to tell them what's going on. I'll say, Hammer 1-2. So I'm telling him, anytime I say that, I say, hey, pay attention to me is what I'm telling him. Hammer 1-2, Hammer 1-1, me. I'm coming out your right 4 o'clock low, below the horizon. Engaged, meaning I'm fighting the bad guys. You can be engaged or free. So I'm engaged. I'm telling him I'm engaged. Right 2 circle. Right 2 circle is just a geometry fight thing. Don't worry about what that means. Right 2 circle, offensive. Okay, I'm fighting the guy versus defensive. He's fighting me. And then he will say, Hammer 1-2, tally, meaning I can see the bad guy. Visual, I can see you. And free, I'm the one not fighting. Going high cover, which just means he's above and behind me. Or he can go low cover and be down below me. And he'll do that, and then at some point I'll pretend that my guns that I'm fighting this other guy with have jammed and they're not working. And I'll say, Hammer 1-2, my guns are jammed, can you engage? And he will say, or she will say, they're going to tell me what to do, how to get out of the way so that they can start taking over. And they're going to say, Hammer 1-1, level your wings, because I'm in a turn, level my wings, get your nose up, pull my nose up, why? I'm trying to get out of the way. And then at some point they're going to say, bring it back to the right, Hammer 1-2 is coming out your right, 3 o'clock, or wherever they are, low, engage right 2 circle offensive. So I just took about 2.5 minutes to describe what I'm going to go through in about 20 seconds in the plane. And oh, by the way, while they're doing this, imagine being in your car. Some of you might claim some of your brothers or sisters, your parents are doing this. Maximum acceleration, slam on the brakes as hard as you can, turn the wheel as hard to the left as you can, back to the right, back on the gas. They're doing this in the plane while trying to say this. So I'm going to give it to you at full speed of what they do. And you can imagine if they haven't prepared for it, they don't know where to look and what I'm doing, and they haven't practiced this. I've done this 100+ times, which is why 3 years later I can still remember it this well, that there's no way they'd be able to do this in the plane. So we'll start out, we're sitting there, my wingman's over there. Hammer 1-2, break left, bandit left, 10 o'clock high. Hammer 1-2, no joy. Hammer 1-2, reverse turn, bandit overshot. Hammer 1-2, reverse. Hammer 1-2, Hammer 1-1's coming out your right 4 o'clock low, engage right 2 circle offensive. Hammer 1-2, tally, visual, free, going high cover. Hammer 1-2, and then they would go high to low cover, so Hammer 1-2, high going low. And all they're doing is telling me where they are while I'm doing my thing. Hammer 1-2, low going high. Hammer 1-2, high going low. Hammer 1-2, my guns are jammed, can you engage? Hammer 1-1, level your wings, get your nose up, bring it back to the right. Hammer 1-2 is coming out your right 3 o'clock low, engage right 2 circle offensive. Hammer 1-1, tally, visual, free, going high cover. So it goes on from there, but as you can see, if you haven't practiced that, if you haven't prepared for that flight, there is no possible way that they'll get it. So what bearing does that have on you guys sitting in here? Well, in short, you guys have done the practice and the preparation to get here tonight. And that's what sets you apart from all the peers in your class and what you guys can be very proud of. And now you can go home and tell people, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, that's right, I'm like a Navy fighter pilot. See what they say when they laugh. They're like, no, really, I am. But I will tell you, and this is for even the people who are not in here, those two things stand alone Your parents will tell you, your teachers will tell you, practice and preparation single-handedly set everybody else aside from the people who are just average or who don't make it. And that's what you guys are here. So I'm pretty excited that this is the first annual induction into the National Honor and the Junior National Honor Society for both of you guys. So you've got a lot to be proud of. You've worked very hard. Thank you for asking me to speak and give me the privilege, so thank you for that tonight.
Character. It's something that defines each and every one of us. Something that, whether good or bad, is a reflection of who we are. It not only shows how we see ourselves, but it shows other people who we are as well. We can be a good example or a bad one, and that really affects those around us. Each one of us is here tonight have been chosen because we are lights, and even the smallest light completely changes the darkness around it. We should embrace challenges that contest our morals, because when we stand fast in the face of adversity, not only does it build our character, but inspires all those around us. As we light these candles, let them be a reminder that people see the character within us, and we must do our best to keep it bright.
Good evening, I'm Abby Warren, and I'm here to talk to you all about scholarship. This isn't a scholarship you would apply for to get into college. The scholarship I am talking about is knowledge. True scholarship consists in knowing not what exists, but what they mean. It is not memory, but judgment, said James Russell Lowell, who is an American poet. The pursuit of knowledge and scholarship help us in life and make us better people. But remember, scholarship isn't everything. Your power isn't in how much you do, or how much you know, but how you apply it. Men have a respect for scholarship and learning greatly out of proportion to the use they commonly deserve, said Henry David Thoreau.
Good evening. I'm Lauren Goldberg. Leadership is an essential part here at the North Carolina Leadership Academy. We are challenged every day to make a choice between being a leader or a follower. Leadership means setting a good example. Teachers look to students who follow directions in times of need. Students look to peers who are organized and well put together. Leaders are known for being respected. To be a leader, you must have followers who look to you. The best leaders are well respected and show respect to others. Leadership is an important character trait many students possess here at the NCLA. It can be found in anyone as long as hard work and persistence is put into whatever you do. Good evening. My name is Maggie Marsh, and I will be talking about service. When I light the candle, we should be reminded of what service is. Service is the willingness to devote time and effort to find greatness and to help serve in a volunteer level. Gandhi states the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. In addition, it's the burning joy to give all you have for another in need. Service illuminates your day by allowing opportunity to become a helpful hand. It should be a genuine passion that you should strive to exercise every single day. Through the National Honor Society, we are held at a higher standard, which is to serve our community until the very end.
Inductees, please stand. Please recite after me the National Honor Society pledge. I pledge to uphold the high purposes of the National Honor Society, to which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands. I will be loyal to my school and will maintain and encourage high standards of scholarship, leadership, service, and character. You may be seated.
She was kidding. If the inductees could please stand. Okay, at this time, we're going to give out the certificates, and our National Honor Society inductees are going to receive their pins. Brenna Boozer. Hunter Bowman. Seth Brannon. Lauren Deason. Zachary Ellis. Kaylee Flippin. Landon Folks. Madeline Heath. Callie Jackson.